Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, The Grimm Reader. This is my weekly reading and etc. update, life update. And I've had a couple of full starts, so I'm like, let's get into it this time. And I want to make sure that this time I do chapter headings, so it'll be a little bit easier for you to sort of pick and choose what you want to watch. The first, so there's three of them: life updates, acquisitions, because I'm in a kind of not buying a lot, but I am buying a few things, books. Though I won't tell you about all my acquisitions, and which are boring, and the reading, of course, at the end. And I'm wearing my lovely earrings, which sort of match my t-shirt from Hungary. My sister brought these matchy earrings back from some sort of actual Etsy store, you know, like a artisan place in Budapest. I love them. They're different. Let's see. Life updates. So I can already tell it's coming back a little bit. So I've had a couple of pain issues which are resolving, which is good. I've been diagnosed with something called geographic tongue, which is this. I don't even know if that's exactly what I have, but I have perhaps autoimmune related tongue pain and a little sort of bumps. They're not. I keep looking as to what they could be, and they're not the typical things. But that's what people have told me that I have, as opposed to something worse. So that's good. But it has been bothering me, and it's not really food related. It might be hydration related, but it's one of these tiny little things. If it's bad pain, it's quite distracting from your life to have bad tongue pain. For like the quiet time that I have now, when I have time to read, or I'm not that super busy. So there's this thing of you notice things more in terms of pain. And the other issue, which is not bad right now, thank goodness, but it has been a bit bad, is that my left foot, the toe, which I had surgery on about 7 years ago, I have to go see a foot doctor about it because it's not a healthy toe. And we'll have to, and it's sort of, the pain is kind of radiating to the other. So, and it's such a sort of annoying, well, not annoying, but you know, because it's just the toe, it's like a small part of the body, but if that's sore, you can't walk. And so that's the issue with toe pain. Big toe pain is problematic for that reason, because you can't easily walk. And I've been walking is not much, but a little bit, trying to keep a little bit active. But it's sort of, today is a good day for it, because the big change in my life since I last spoke to you guys is that one Saturday I woke up. I have this thing where I almost like wake up in the middle of the night and then go back to sleep a little bit. And I did that, and I woke up and I weighed myself, and I decided at that moment, kind of a spur of the moment thing, to sign up again for Weight Watchers. And because I'm at my heaviest, I'm as heavy as I was when I got heavy during COVID. And I do think it's related to the antidepressant, sorry, the duloxetine, which is non-brand for, what's its brand name? Cymbalta? Is that it? I think that's it. Yeah, it's and so people say you gain weight on it, and I have, and I actually did a little tiny bit of research as to why. Is it a metabolic change that I don't have no control over, or is it just because you eat more because you're happy? And I think in my case, and even the answers I got were like, oh, it's a little bit of both. We're not sure if it's metabolic, but it could also just be that the underlying conditions of the depression, whatever you have, are gone, and so you just eat more. And the way I've been eating has been sort of out of control a little bit, only in the sense that it's making me heavier. I mean, it's not, but it's too much sugar, pastries, bread, ice creams, just all the things that are very, caloric. Cut them all out, replace them with vegetables, fruit, eggs are good. The good thing about Weight Watchers now, I'm not like in any way a big proponent of it, but it has worked for me in the past. And what I don't like is that they haven't been doing it as much this time. They kind of coax you towards their crappy stuff that they want to sell you, and because it's all low points. But basically, if you substitute high caloric things and eat less sugar and eat less bread and eat less pastries and eat a lot of veggies and fruits, and so my point is that they've reintroduced the 0 point stuff. So eggs is 0 point. Yay, I love eggs. salmon that we eat a lot of, if they say it's 0 points, and with a salad, that's not so bad. The dressing is points, and of course, wine is points. So anything, with sugar is points, or like someone was complaining, but why is orange juice points, but an orange isn't? Of course, that's just sugar water versus the fiber or whatever the other stuff you get with the orange. It makes sense, and it makes sense to me. I'm eating way more veggies. And I'm lucky enough to be someone who does kind of like a lot of weird things. Like, I actually really like cucumbers, which is great. I really like the taste, like a little tiny bit of salt. I like eggs. And of course, now I'm sort of coaxing my brain to move back to these foods. Artichoke hearts. I even like mushrooms in a can, from a can, or a glass jar of mushrooms, things like that. So beets, I like beets, and they're very sweet. So just it's about substituting the bad for the good in a certain sense. Of course, it's not really bad, and it's bad to condemn foods, but for me at least, in order to lose, and I have already been going down in a couple of, it's been less than a week, and it's probably just, it's the euphoric phase of, oh wow, she's not giving us that, she's giving us this, and so it's gonna, and it will be tested. And that's the thing about transitioning to not being really on a diet, but just not like gaining is always the key. How to go back without, but going back to eating too much of this so you gain weight. And the movement is about another big factor. So this is all boring stuff, but I just wanted to let you know that that's a new thing in my life, is that I'm doing well. So far so good. I say here, not starving. Well, actually, at this moment, I haven't had my breakfast yet, which is now oatmeal with berries and stuff, and that'll be good, but I haven't had it yet, so I am a little hungry right now, but it's fine. And no strong desires for bad food, because it's fine. And also, I don't know if there's a connection, but my pain is much better. Might be. Maybe I'm sensitive to all the gluten. Maybe. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I'm noticing that my back is better. Maybe it's just because I'm just relaxed, I'm sleeping more. It's probably a mixture of things, per usual. On Saturday, we went to our No Kings demo in town, and it was lovely. The weather was really bad, though. It was very sticky and humid and rainy, too. But we all stood around and chanted a little bit. I noticed how my husband and other people around me, they're not used to chanting. Being at a few demos for the union, I've become, you got to chant. You have to say, lend your voice to the crowd so that it sounds good. And I like doing that. But yeah, and I saw people, including one of my favorite students. She's wonderful. She's an artist, has a big following on TikTok. And it was just great to see all the people, a lot of older folks, not so many students because it's summer. It was a good time. We didn't stay for the whole time because we were getting rather uncomfortable, and so we did leave, but we did do our part for No Kings, because my gosh, it's just terrible. Everything is terrible. Let's see. So that was Saturday. What was that? Good turnout, extremely sticky and humid. So I think that's it for the updates, for the life updates. Let's move on to my acquisitions. So I got 3 things. First off, I got Ursula K. Le Guin's, the first 3 novels of that take place in the universe of Left Hands of Darkness. Rokanan's World, Planet of Exile, and City of Illusions. Because, that was good, and I want to, read more about it. And since these take place there, and she's a great writer, why not? Why not? And this is a little omnibus version of all 3. The next one, I was influenced by YouTuber and someone who's, I don't know if it's okay to say this, but he also has a Discord that I'm somewhat active on when I have time. Orpheus, he talked about how much he loved this book, and so, it fits right in with my collection here, my obsessive collection of Oxfords. Hey, it's almost at the end there. I just got to get rid of the recognitions and I can put it in. And then I have the whole top shelf will be Oxfords, and that's enough. Don't worry. I mean, I have this thing where I collect for a certain point, and then I don't even my green, the green ones, the Virago ones with the pictures on them, which I have a small collection of them too because I like them. But so he had good things to say about this. Flora Thompson. 1900, so that's when it takes place. Is that when she wrote it too? So would it count for Victober, which is, yeah, doch, yeah, yeah. Let's see, she wrote this in, oh no, it's later. She wrote this in 1939. But that's good, that's fine. I'm pretty sure I will like this a lot, and it's a beautiful cover. And then the last thing that I was completely influenced by, because it wasn't really on my radar at all, Gina Stanier, Cozy Reads, Cozy Lady, wonderful booktube channel. She talked about, I think it was just a post on Instagram. She talked about loving Alexander Stoddard. So I went over and looked at her books. She's quite old now. She's in her 80s, but she's kind of like, I don't even know what to call her. An author and sort of a decorator type lady. And author of more than 20 books. She's a speaker on the art of living. So it's a sort of strain of making ladies happy type stuff. It goes along with the book that I had acquired as a pre-order last time, the new book by Miranda Mills that's going to be The Country Commonplace. And this is Living a Beautiful Life. And it's the kind of book that, I kind of read in a double way. I actually really like these kinds of things, but I can't help but think that people, it's like my mother would have hated this. For her, it would have been she was somewhat resentful of anything to do with domesticity, and maybe that's why I'm obsessed with it in a more kind of accepting way. I'm presuming maybe my mother would have thought it was fine, but I have a feeling that there's a lot of people who would hate this kind of stuff. Grace notes at the end of every chapter. There are grace notes, but she has little quotes from people like Rilke, which are fine. Personal rituals make you a poet. Creating rituals requires instinct for what you like. And that's the thing. If you surround yourself with as many things that you like, food, art, whatever makes you happy, whatever it is, you will be happier. I truly believe that. So it's sort of like stuff I already know, but I love being reminded about it. And thank you, Gita, for the recommendation. I will get some of her other books, maybe. Choosing Happiness. And, I think, the issue here is this is sort of, how should I put this in a discreet way? It's very sort of, I can't even verbalize what I want to say, so I won't, because this will get me in trouble. Anyway, but it's good stuff. It's good. I am in favor of it. Okay, now on to the readings. One thing I'll say sort of on the live stuff is that I'm also doing Duolingo for French, but I kind of want to up my French game a little bit because I'm sort of sick of just half knowing things. And, I do know some French, but I want to have a more systematic introduction to it. So I think, and I do have a French for a reading book, but it's not quite what I want. I think I might just indulge in a French textbook that goes through the chapters just like our German book does. So I could sort of, reteach myself or remind myself of how the tenses work. The grammar, the structure of the language is still kind of eluding me. I mean, I make good guesses on tenses and things, but it's all not really coming together because it's Duolingo and that's how Duolingo works. So that's something. If you have a textbook that you can recommend or even an online program, something beyond Duolingo, more structured, that would be great. So that's the French update. So let's talk about my reading. Oh, I had a conniption. The Thousand Autumns of Jacob. I almost ditched it because I wasn't enjoying it. I almost ditched it. I was like frustrated because it was not meeting my expectations. The writing was, and this is because partly I think because I was listening to it and not reading it. And so the first part of my conniption has to do with my own stupid OCD regarding languages and language. These are a bunch of Dutch people interacting with Japanese people, and there's so much about the language, and it's so punny and funny, sort of in an English way, that for me it's hard to imagine that these are Dutch people. To me, the parts of the beginning sound like a sort of an imitation of Patrick O'Brien, the Maturin series, but not as good. I thought his style was better in a way. for what it was. It's sort of, and I couldn't get over the fact that they're supposed to be speaking Dutch, especially when they are talking about the two languages and comparing them and doing, it's all about translating, but they're translating into Dutch, but we're reading it in English. It's not really Dutch. Sorry, rant over, but that really bugged me. And then I said, just get off your stupid hobby horse that you get obsessed with these stupid things and no one else is obsessed about. No one in what I've read about it has even mentioned that fact, that it's kind of, it kept kind of breaking the illusion of the novel for me, the fact that, but these are supposed to be Dutch people, but they're making jokes, like punny jokes in English that probably wouldn't work the same in Dutch. That's my thing. The languages are too different. I don't know Dutch really. I mean, I know it because I know German a little bit, but they don't really work the same way in terms of jokes, I don't think. I don't think they do, but whatever. I could not suspend my disbelief. And then I just kind of got sick of it all, and I don't really like Jacob as a character as much. I think he's annoying and self-serving to a certain extent. So then what I did was, because I was about to ditch the thing, I went in and looked at what's going to happen, like a little bit more. I looked at some spoilers and stuff, and some people were like, "Whoa, this turned into something completely different," and I'm like, "Good." I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for the gothic. I'm waiting for the extreme stuff, because in a way it sounds like a topic that I'm interested in, that we talk about in my fairy tale class, which I won't tell you what it is, and it could be that it's crazy and stupid. And also some people are saying it's a little bit what's the word, colonializing, because it's connected to something to do with the religion there and whatever. But to me, all of that is secondary to, is it a good story at this point? All I want is a good story to listen to while I clean the lettuce, really. It's gone down from this amazing work that is stellar in greatness. It's not, in my opinion. And also another thing that might be my conniption is, I can sort of tell it's written by someone who was not even in their 40s, like a young person trying to write a historic novel. And I think it just all comes back to, I couldn't get into Matrix by Lauren Groff either, the one about Marie de France. I have a hard time with modern historical stuff. Like, give me Sylvia Townsend Warner, is that her name? Who wrote Lolly, whatever it's called. And then her other book about the Priory. That was great. That's from the 30s. Give me that. But then I did read a German historic novel that was good it was a fictional retelling of the guy who tried to find the passage called The Discovery of Slowness. That was actually quite good, because it was sort of postmodern in a way that this really isn't yet, or not at all, I don't think. But okay, I'm ranting about this. But the upshot of it all is I calmed down. I think it's adequate. I'm sort of enjoying the so there's one character, some of the characters are really cliche, like the stupid American who's always belching. That's just annoying. Everything that comes out of the American's mouth is cliche. He's an awful person. I don't mind awful people, but there has to be something else there than the fact that he belches and is totally racist. And it's because he's a hired hand. He's just not a very nice person. But you can make nice people interesting, not nice people. And same with Jacob. He's kind of like, I don't know. He's supposed to be young, and he's not. I don't know. Is he not reflective enough? That's part of it. A lot of it, it's very actiony. It's sort of almost in this sort of movie. Here we go again. It's like a movie. The monkey running around with the piece of body. That whole scene was quite enjoyable, but it's very sort of, and it's sort of, there's a lot of action, and then they have sort of interactions, a lot of dialogue, and he does do this really annoying thing with the dialogue. Sorry, I'm going on about this book, where he says, here, I already found one on this page. I am too drunk, thinks Jacob, to practice cunning. I am here about to. You don't need to always say thinks what they're doing, and he does it so many times. It's really annoying, thinks Jacob. I'm not too drunk, thinks Jacob. Don't do that. It's so annoying. I don't even know what to call that. He's always intercepting the stream of consciousness with the fact that someone's having the stream of consciousness, and it's not in a sort of Thomas Bernhard, this kind of works way. It's in a annoying way. Rant over. Let's see. But I'm still reading it, and I'm waiting to get to the good part. I'm waiting to get to the Gothic, the nunnery with the monks and the if you know, you know, and the female lead. She's interesting, and apparently even the point of view changes, which is great because I'm sick of Jacob. Anyway, enough of that one. And then what happened was Stifter. Okay, so I'm still not going to get into the total nitty gritty, but part of it is what's so strange about the book is I know, and so what did I've been continuing to read about the strange book, and in terms of the plot, one strange thing has happened. Well, not one strange thing, but part of the plot is that the person. Someone in the frame is telling the person who authored the story, the great grandfather. Someone's telling him, another main character, and he's a lieutenant or something in the army. He talked to someone else, I think, and was given the following kind of life, how to master your life rule, and the rule was to keep a journal. Like about what's going on in your life and what your plans are for your life. Write something and then put it away in a cupboard. So there's always cupboards in Stifter. And then 3 years later, open it and see what you wrote and see what you think about what you wrote. And the point is that everything you wrote about your plans will be different. And it will give your life some kind of like, you realize how futile it is to make plans or how they'll always change. And so this man is showing the great grandfather who's still inside the story his cupboard full of journal packets of what the journals that he's been keeping of his life, and so that's a big part of it. And then connected to that is the fact that Stifter edited this whole work, this novel about this guy, 4 different times. So it's almost like and I found a dissertation from the University of Chicago. A younger woman, for me at least, I mean quite a bit younger. So I think it's from 2019, and it includes a chapter about this work. And what was I going to say? No, I lost my train of thought. So now the parallel between the writing of the novel and what's going on in the novel in terms of the rewriting. So it's about rewriting, and in order to the rewriting to live in a certain way or to get a perspective on things, about gaining perspective through rewriting, and then rereading what you wrote and then reassessing. So the re, and she does talk about this thing called the reality effect of fiction, verisimilitude, the fact that fiction, realistic fiction, is mimicking reality. But it's not reality. And the reality effect is a term coined apparently by Roland Barthes. And here we go with the theory stuff. Don't worry, it won't be too long. So I haven't read the article that I found online and copied by Roland Barthes called The Reality Effect, where he introduces this theme. And I also want to go back to her dissertation. I haven't read the whole thing either. I just kind of got into the beginnings of it. But he's going to talk about the strangeness of realistic fiction, especially realism, 19th century. This idea that it's a reality that's not a reality. And here we go with Kathy Grimm going crazy because we're watching this really weird show, Nathan Fiedler's The Rehearsal. It's just one of the most strange shows I've ever watched. And my husband got onto it. He actually started watching it when I was in Germany, and now we're onto it. And talk about the reality effect. So he's this really smart guy. And so the show is basically the show is all about bringing people by way of a strange Craigslist announcement, which sounds we're still on season 1. I know about season 2. I know a little bit about it, and so he brings people in to rehearse how to have a real conversation about something that's bothering them. And so and then it turns into this movie by Charlie Kaufman, Synecdoche, New York, where he rebuilds the bar where they sit in exactly the same way in this big hangar that HBO has given him. And so they rebuild it, and he's always populating the rebuilds with actors acting out the people. And so that's a main thing of the show, is he's always having to bring in actors who act like they're the person's friends. That's just the first episode. And then it sort of explodes from there to this other big thing about this woman who wants to pretend how it is to have children. So she lives in this house pretending and that's just hysterical, and I won't even go into the details of that. But the point is, the whole show, you're just wondering what is real and what is not real. Nothing is real. Nothing is real, but it's all real. Nothing is real, but it's all real. That's the reality effect. The last episode was a bunch of actors trying to be taught his method of acting, which is to become the person that you're stalking, basically. And then, of course, what happens is, not of course, but he then decides on, we don't even know where his thoughts come from exactly, from his strange brain, or probably from something that he thought up and decided to do. He populates the class with another group of actors so he can, and it's hard to explain how it turns into a sort of what we call from theory a bad infinity of meta repetition. It's a looking into the mirror of with a mirror, and it keeps going, and then it just has to stop because it gets ridiculous. But it is kind of reminding me of this, what is real. Nothing is real and everything. And what happens is the fake becomes the real. The fake becomes the real. But then what happens to the real? So in terms of the show, it's all about who's acting, who is an actor and who is a participant. And he actually does have some real participants. I know that but it's really hard to tell. And the thing is, sometimes the participants, they might be actors too, but it's like, and then you keep second guessing yourself from before. Like, was that person from the first episode? Were his roommates real? I mean, it's pretty amazing what he's done, I have to say, even though it probably doesn't sound amazing with me just ranting about it, but for me, it's good. I like it. And he's really interesting, but he's always kind of like, is he always acting, or sometimes he acts really, really like in a very awkward way, and you're like, is he acting awkward or is he awkward? But he does it so well that you can't tell, which I guess is good acting. But we're always acting. I mean, that's the whole point. That's the sort of upshot of it, is that we're always acting in life, and all of our lives are sort of based on us, acting in a certain sense. Stifter Bart Fiedler. There's an article for you right there. Someone should write it, not me. Last but not least, I decided, because this is going well, but it's sort of like, if it's the only book I have, sometimes I'm just not quite in the mood for it. I decided to pick up something else, and even if it means this will take a bit longer. I've upped my ability to read a little bit, but not much, because I'm still being distracted by things, as you can tell. I picked up one of my Persephones, and this is called The Homemaker by Dorothy Canfield Fisher, and it's really good. It's well written about this sort of house dragon housewife lady who, it's really well written, and I won't tell you a lot about it because I'll be back next week, but it's basically written in the 30s, I think, about this lady who's obsessed with having her home clean, but she cannot really interact in a very meaningful or loving way with her children because she's just not made that way. Published in 1924. So she's obsessed with cleanliness. And like, this is a great scene where she sits down and admires the sofa, and she pours out all her admiration for the sofa. Meanwhile, any interaction with her kids is reprimanding. And also her husband, who's a bit of a flaky guy, I guess. It's still at the beginning. And so it's quite well written, and it's just a pleasure to sort of dip into something that's a quicker read. And it could even be that I read better in English. I mean, a bit slow in German, but I think well, Stifter is kind of a strange writer, and you do have to think about things. And he has this sort of Austrian idiom that I'm not that familiar with, but I can read it fine. Anyway, so wow, we're at half an hour. I apologize. I put chapters up here. As you can see, they're doing a lot of stuff out on our street. They've done the curb, the new curb. And then there's a bit of a gap on our driveway, which is annoying because the street has to come in and be redone too. They'll probably be redoing it when my friend comes to visit. Anywho, time for my oatmeal. And I hope you're all doing well. I apologize for length. Let me know how you're all doing and what you're reading. And I will be back next week. Bye.